Thanks, everyone. We're just still waiting for quorum. We need one more person, so we'll just stand by. We do.
We are.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Heather Zenner, and I'm welcoming you to the Alberni Valley Regional Airport Committee meeting, calling the meeting to order at 10:05 a.m. I first want to recognize that we're conducting this meeting on the traditional territories of the Sashat First Nation and the Hupecheset First Nation, and appreciate that fact. I noticed to all attendees and delegates that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube on the Regional District website. And we'll start off by doing introductions. So I'm Heather Zenner, Manager of Administrative Services for the Regional District, and I'll just pass it off to Wendy to introduce yourself.
I'm Wendy Hayes, Community Services Assistant.
Mike Rutan, member of the advisory.
Cindy Solda, City of Port Alberni.
Klama Penny Cote. I'm the Alberni Claypot Regional District Director for Sprout Lake.
Mike Yan, Fire Chief, Sprout Lake Fire Department.
Jenny Brunn, General Manager of Community Services.
Harley, excuse me, Harley Wiley, Sashat First Nation.
Great, thank you. And can I get you to introduce yourself, Dan, and then Michael?
Yep, Daniel Savard from just from here in town, Sweataway Inn, and realtor at Royal LePage.
Michael Hoff, member at large for the advisory boards for Lake.
Great, thank you. Pat, and then Alicia.
Pat Deacon, City of Port Alberni Economic Development.
Alicia Fazer, Airport Project Planner with the ACRD.
Great, thank you, everyone. So the reason I'm chairing this meeting at the moment is because we need to elect a chairperson for this committee. So those of you that are in the room, if we do have an election, I will provide you a ballot to select your chairperson. And those that are on online, so that's Dan and Michael, I will ask that you email me at hzenner@acrd.bc.ca. Wendy, if I can just ask you to pop my email address in the chat in Zoom. And I would ask you to email me your choice for chairperson if we have an election. So to start the election process, I will call for nominations for a chairperson for the Alberni Valley Regional Airport Advisory Committee for 2024 for a first time. Go ahead, Cindy.
I'll nominate Mike.
Mike, do you accept the nomination?
Somebody else wants to.
Don't forget to use your microphone.
Yes, I will, unless there's somebody else that would be interested.
Great, thank you. And I will call for nominations for a chairperson of the Alberni Valley Regional Airport Advisory Committee for 2024 for a second time. And I will call for nominations for chairperson of the Alberni Valley Regional Airport Advisory Committee for 2024 for a third time. So there being no further nominations, I hereby declare Mike Rutan the chair of the Alberni Regional Airport Advisory Committee for 2024. And I will step aside and let you chair the meeting now.
Yeah. Okay, thanks everybody. Appreciate your support. It's a tough job. We have an agenda in front of us. Unless there are any changes, a motion to approve it would be in order.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any opposed? Then the motion is carried. And we have also before us our minutes of the advisory committee, the last one, which was held on November 16th, 2023. Are there any concerns with the minutes?
Move to adopt.
Seeing none, then thank you very much. Is there anybody opposed? Then I declare the motion carried. Now, Wendy, the presentation for the William Templeton Award for Best Aviation Facility, I believe that's going to be on hold, right?
Unfortunately, our award has not arrived at the office yet, so we are going to hold that today.
Okay, so we'll put that off for another time. And unfortunately, we have one more victim of our weather. Not seeing any correspondence. And there's no request for decisions. So then that brings us to an operation update, a report from Mark Fortune, our airport manager, a verbal report. And it's not going to be Mark. It's going to be Jenny.
Yes, I would be happy to report on behalf of Mark. So one of the updates that we can give as an operational update is that it's snowing outside. So we have a lot of work that we're doing at the airport at the moment, removing the snow. And unfortunately, we've had a little bit of mechanical issues. So he's there helping staff with that snow removal and the equipment on site. And of course, we are hopeful that we don't get too much more snow and we don't have 3 or 4 days of clearing at the airport, but we can get that cleaned up today. So we will deal with it as it comes. I have a few items that I can report on for today. One of them is the grant application and our equipment shelter. So if the committee remembers, we are looking to build a storage equipment shelter out at the Alberni Valley Regional Airport. We had tendered that project with another shelter at the Long Beach Airport, but the prices came in really high. That was during COVID when we were really seeing a peak in the tender pricing coming in. So we have now split those and we're going to be reissuing. And the good news is that the equipment shelter is eligible for BCAP funding. And so it should be eligible to receive 60% funding. So we're going to be submitting an application, and if we're successful, we will be getting just over $600,000 in funding, and then we will fund the difference of just under $300,000. So that is on our work plan for this year. We have done, we've done an updated cost estimate on that. So the original pricing was, I think, around $600,000, but based on what we received for those tenders, we have put in a very conservative and healthy budget. And that's helpful for our grant application because we always want to make sure that we are applying for the absolute maximum amount that it might cost so that we're getting recovered on that. However, I will note that we have recently closed a few other tenders and we're seeing prices come back to a little bit of a more normal level. One of them is just like water mains construction. And so we're seeing our prices coming in as what we saw 5 years ago. That may or may not hold true for this project. We will wait and see. But I do believe that the estimate that we're at right now, which is very high, it's $900,000, is definitely adequate to cover the cost if we proceed with this year. We also do have a very healthy reserve. So if we don't receive the funding, we will be able to proceed with the project just out of our reserves. So I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
Cindy.
Just kind of curious to know, how big is the equipment shelter, and is the grant for both or is it just for one?
The grant is just for this project. We are submitting another grant for a generator at the Long Beach Airport, but they're separate, so they're both going into the same program. And we haven't prioritized one over the other, but in initial discussions, they're looking positive. That is an excellent question about the size, and I should have had that prepared, but I expected Mark to be here, so I don't have that information at my fingertips. It will be adequate to store all of the like our snowplow and room for future equipment storage out there. Like visually, if you could think of like 3 or 4 loaders, because it's a square building, so it will be adequate to store all of that. But I'm sorry, I don't have this.
And just a follow-up, will it be heated? I mean, obviously equipment you don't really need to, but will it be power, of course?
Yes, the original design is to have it fully powered, and I believe that's what the cost estimate is for. We can scale that back if we need to, if we were short on funds, but I think at this time we're planning to have it all electrified and heat to keep the equipment dry.
Sorry, Penny, go ahead.
Thank you. Where will it be positioned on the airport?
It'll be near the terminal building. So we've got the parking lot and terminal building, and we have a lease lot that's dedicated for that as well in our expansion. And so it'll be sitting there. So it'll be easy access for the runway, for the equipment to just go right off onto the runway.
Before you get to the terminal building or after?
After. So like, yes, the terminal building, and then we have the other lease lots there.
How much do we have in our reserve?
I believe we'll be bringing the draft financial plan to the board for February 14th. We were running the numbers, and the only thing we have, we've got the OLS clearing on our plan, which I'll give an update for, as well as the equipment shelter, and I think some water course work and some other minor items on our capital plan. And if we are successful in receiving funding, I think we are still, you know what, I feel like I shouldn't speak to that right now, but we will have the draft financial plan. So we do have enough money to proceed though this year. So we would have at least $600,000 sitting there if we don't receive the funding in the reserve on the 2024 plan.
You ready for more questions? Okay, so 2 questions then. Is there any plan for internet access at the terminal building? And tree removal. Where are we at with the tree removal?
Thank you. All right, we will move along to those ones because I have, those are both on my list that I would like to update you on. So the internet is good. We, at our last meeting, we talked about inquiring with other leaseholders if they were interested. We did. We have no interest for shared internet service. So we have gone ahead and expanded our current base internet. We have a wireless router on site now. So I believe as of today, and actually it might have been 2 weeks ago, anyone can go there and use the internet. So we just need to post in the terminal building the Wi-Fi access information. We are currently going to be trying to use the cellular network system and see if that works. And we've increased our gigabytes. The only challenge with that is that if someone goes out there and starts downloading Netflix, then we could easily be into very high service fees. So I think we'll be explicit about that. You know, we'll request that people manage that. And we will see for the next year if that's adequate, because that is the most cost-effective solution if we're just giving it for public Wi-Fi usage. And if that meets what the pilot's usage needs are, then I think that's the perfect solution for us. So that's where we're at with internet. And we might even have that posted, I'm sure, by the end of the month, although I don't think anyone's in the terminal looking for internet at this time of year.
You'd be surprised who's looking for internet this time of year. I know that groups do like to use the terminal building. And previously I've been out there and not being able to access. There was internet there, but private. So I'm wondering, is there any use for the internet for planes coming in to turn the lights on or anything like that? Like, just wondering if there's any use for the internet for approaches.
Do you mean you like as far as our operations using the internet? Yes. So we will still maintain, we actually use it primarily for our fuel system for the communication in that regard. So that is the system that because it has to access the internet in order to work. And so we have our own dedicated slice of our internet service, which is what that's for. And then we're opening up a portion of that for the, for the public, if that explains that. Okay, and I have a really excellent update on trees. So we have our license to cut and license of occupation. We received a 5-year license for each of those as of Friday, and we will be issuing the request for proposals bids shortly. I know Michael was working on that on Monday morning. And we are on track to have all of the trees cut by March 15th, which is the bird window, so that we won't incur any additional costs and a lot of delays if we're working in the bird window. So we're very happy about that. And potentially we might have those cleared even before March, but we're working as fast as we can to get that done so that there's nothing impacting the instrument approach this summer is our goal.
Thank you. I just want to congratulate you and the team that have been working on this for now more than 4 years. And I'm glad that we are at this point where you're able to announce that we have a target date to get the trees down. And the time for this, the time frame, how long is this agreement for to take the trees down?
So we've been issued a 5-year term, which is perfectly fine. That because we really only need to be removing trees. We will have our tree removal. Obviously, it's been a lot of years since we've done tree removal, so we have a very large amount of work to do this time around. We'll continue to do the surveys to see what we have for intrusions into the obstacle limitation surface. And we will continue to cut. We might not have to do any cutting next year just because we'll have been proactive in clearing the trees in this one swoop, but it will be the following year or year after that we plan to go in again. We will make another application, obviously, before the end of our term to continue to, again, just clear trees. One of the things that was highlighted through this process is our need to do, I think, more proactive and better consultation with First Nations. So that, because obviously the land outside of our airport property is Crown land, and there's a lot of different uses or wills, and it's traditional territory and a lot of things. For us, we just want to make sure that the trees are maintained. But with that in mind, we need to be sensitive to the fact that there's a lot of other factors going on, and that can really be a hiccup for us. So we will be looking at working with our local First Nations on plans for that before the end of the 5-year term so that we can come up with another plan that'll help us to get a longer term lease or even just another short-term renewal.
And one last question. Northwest corner of the airport property, there was some concern about needing to put in a proper fence along there to keep deer off the runway. Is there any report on where we're at with that?
Yes, so we do not have our fence line completed because we have there's another leaseholder out there, Dolan's, and they have a gravel pit and they've got some equipment on there. And right now, we need to sort out sort of where they're going to move. And again, they need to get approval for a location from the province based on that. So yeah, it's a little bit of a layered issue out there that we have been having discussions with the province on. So we'll continue to have those discussions and work forward on that so that we can finish our fencing corner.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? No, seeing none. There is no late business. And I don't know if there's public participating or not. Don't see any.
There's no questions or comments from the public.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Okay, then in that case, I believe this brings our meeting to an end. A motion to adjourn. Okay, so moved. Thank you, everybody. And enjoy the rest of your day and make sure you get going before the snow starts.